Get your tickets now for The Dog Stars.
It's no surprise how fast civilization can disappear. Out there, it's kill or be killed.
Jacob Elordi.
There are people out there. They need our help.
Josh Brolin.
Shoot first and inquire afterwards.
Margaret Qualley.
Okay, tough guy.
And Guy Pearce.
Arm up!
The Dog Stars, directed by Ridley Scott, in theaters August 28th. Get tickets now. Rated R. Under 17, not admitted without parents.
I'm Serena Williams, and I'm healthier on Ro. I've lost 34 pounds in a year with GLP-1s, diet, and exercise. On Ro, you can access GLP-1 options, including the first FDA-approved GLP-1 pill for weight loss. Go to ro.co/journey to see if you qualify. 14 to 20% average weight loss in 1 year in non-diabetics with obesity or overweight with a weight-related medical condition versus 2.2% to 3.1% in placebo arm. RX only. To stay informed about serious side effects, go to ro.co/safety.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required. $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. See terms.
Welcome back to Tragic Hollywood. I'm Natalie.
And I'm Paige.
Aaliyah was only 22 years old when she passed away. She had the type of career that most artists would spend decades trying to build. So it's incredible to see and hear what she was able to accomplish in the 22 years she had on Earth. And it makes me wonder, what would she have been able to accomplish had she not gotten on that airplane that fateful day? But obviously, we'll never know. And because of that airplane crash, her name and her image and her music are all we have left of her. So speaking of her name, Aaliyah, that's how you probably read the title in your head or aloud when you saw it pop up on your RSS feed. But there was something interesting that Paige and I both noticed when we were researching Aaliyah. If you ever watch an interview with her, she pronounces her name Aaliyah instead of Aaliyah. And I just thought, okay, that's interesting. I wonder if it was just that one interview. It turns out it's not. That is how she pronounced her name. And I was able to find a clip because I just wasn't going to let it sit there because I had to find her talking about it. She appeared on an episode of a BET interview show. And the interviewer host asks her outright, how do you pronounce your name? And she says it's Aaliyah. And I was like, okay, so her name is Aaliyah. Everyone calls her Aaliyah. And it sort of made me think about Taylor Swift. I know you're probably thinking, why Taylor Swift? But we have Taylor Swift, the person, and Taylor Swift, the brand. I think we have Aaliyah, the person, and Aaliyah, the brand, because every person that talks about her in interviews, whether they worked with her, whether they're talking about how her music affected them, all reference her as Aaliyah. That's what the cultural zeitgeist knows her as, Aaliyah.
The best way to understand it is that her name is the feminine version of Ali, like Muhammad Ali. So she's Aaliyah instead of Aaliyah. But I think you bring up such an interesting point of once she's branded, how are people pronouncing it? Where is this going? That's going to best help that side of what's going on for her in her career. And it is, leaning into the cultural zeitgeist of it all and how people are saying your name. I don't think you should strip your identity. I just see why it was easy for her just to accept being called Aaliyah. And I guarantee you at roll call, when there's a substitute teacher or it's the first day of school, she was getting called Aaliyah because that's just how it comes out in the vernacular in the US. I'm sure in other areas they might know Aaliyah as a pronunciation a little bit more, but I do believe that for this episode, calling her Aaliyah the same way that people in those interviews we saw in Superstar, it just makes sense to call her Aaliyah, and it will help all of us listeners, click in and remember who we're talking about too, because this is somebody who lost their life super early. earlier than any of the other people we have spoken about on Tragic Hollywood. She's the youngest.
I didn't realize that she was the youngest because she comes across in all of her interviews and in her music, like her song says, age is just a number or nothing but a number. She really does feel like an old soul. She feels like someone who has lived and experienced so many things in her 22 short years that you forget that she's just a young woman.
It's so funny that you mentioned that because I was thinking as we were researching and learning more about Aaliyah that when I would see her music videos on MTV or when her untimely death happened, she felt like a whole grown woman, not just like cool older sister vibes. Like, yeah, she seemed like a whole woman. And like, granted, at 12, 13, 14 years old, she would have seemed quite a bit older, but it still just felt like she was a whole woman, not 19 to 22. So I'm with you on that. The vibes were there of this really just like cool girl. And in the interview, one of her friends talks about this too. And I'm looking at the vibes of, what Aaliyah was wearing, how she was acting. She had cool Y2K,
For sure.
older cousin, older sister vibes. She did.
Yeah. And she was really ahead of her time.
She was. Her style. She was actually more iconic than I think I ever gave her credit for. The baggy pants with a little like crop top, but like tight fitted crop top, the glasses, the bandanas that we were all wearing bandanas. That wasn't because we just found them. That was Aaliyah.
She also breathed new life into certain brands. For example, Tommy Hilfiger. That was always more of a preppy brand. And this is talked
Super
about.
waspy.
It's not a original thought of mine, but I do have to echo it because it does lean true that when she wore Tommy Hilfiger and people were seeing that this is this R&B singer, actress, it opened it up to so many more people.
Her style became mainstream with Tommy Hilfiger being super preppy, super waspy. It was awesome to have this beautiful young woman of color being an ambassador and it being embraced and celebrated, understood to the point where it became mainstream. And if we really look at it, this is what took us in the late 90s, into the wide leg jeans of the late 90s and early 2000s before we kind of pivoted to bell bottoms and kind of emulated the 70s when our parents had grown up. So it was interesting and really cool to see that she took that opportunity and ran with it. She knew what she had. It was also mentioned that because she was so young, we're left wondering where she could have gone, like where her career could have gone. Part of me almost just like knows without even knowing that she would have become like a major film star as well.
For sure.
She was so focused on that towards the end. She really was. Or like she could have been ahead of her time and done the like short films that we see now that are basically, music videos. Like I'm thinking Bejeweled. I'm thinking All Too Well 10-minute version. I'm thinking Kelsey Ballerini also has like a full like short form like videos. So I do wonder, or I do not even basically wonder that, she would have gone some of that route. Maybe even directed.
She was supposed to be in The Matrix. Her role had to be recast after her death because she wasn't there to complete her scenes. And so I feel like that would have really been a major launching pad for her acting career. Obviously, she was in films prior to that, but that would have been the biggest name, the biggest film on her IMDb.
This is so common when we talk about these celebrities, these public figures on Tragic Hollywood, that they were on this precipice of an even bigger launching pad. Rebecca Schaefer from the other week. It's just so frustrating because as at least as I research, I kind of like parasocially fall back in love with the public figure that they were or whatever art they were producing. And you go, gosh, like it's still, that's all we're left with.
Yeah, it's devastating, not only obviously that a life was lost, but that there is no more art to be made by this person, by their creative genius in whatever form they practice in. And for Aaliyah, obviously, she was pretty versatile. She had her music, she had her films. And something that we did learn as we were deep diving her life is that having music in her life was a little bit more common than we would have expected. She had a family that was very much involved in her career, but also in the industry.
She was born in January of 1979 in Brooklyn. And then by the time she was around 4 or so, they moved to Detroit. So they moved to Detroit in 1984. So she actually would have been like 5 by that time. And this gave those connections to the Motown of it all, the gospel music scene of it all that was in Detroit. And that is where her family was really involved. And so was at the church she attended, the pastor was a lead singer in a gospel band, like the gospel band.
Mhm.
His name was Marvin Williams, and he was part of the first family of gospel, if you will, the Winans. Now, he heard her sing in church, and he said not only was she singing, but she could sing. And so this is where Aaliyah really starts exercising that muscle, and had already known, though, that this is what she wanted. I don't think she ever questioned it.
It's helpful that she had the support of her family. Her mom was a vocalist. Her uncle was an entertainment lawyer who was married to Gladys Knight. Because of these relationships and this history with music and singing, they recognized that she had this talent, put her in vocal lessons. They had her in the church singing in the choir for weddings and charity events. She was, like you said, working that muscle, and from a young age, not only had the talent, but was nurtured in her talents.
Nurtured is such a great way to put it, because by 10, her family was supporting her through Star Search, which in 1989, that would have been like, you cannot express how huge that was. I mean, bigger than what I think even American Idol is today. Honestly, it was huge to be on Star Search.
Can we talk about Star Search, though? Because she didn't win, but that seems to be sort of a trend with Star Search. They just happen to miss some of the biggest names of the early 2000s and beyond. We're talking Britney Spears was on there, didn't win. Justin Timberlake, Christina Aguilera. There were so many people that were obviously very talented and didn't win. So maybe it was a good thing. Maybe the fact that she came in second place was encouragement to keep going.
This industry, film, television, music, in Aaliyah's case, it is like 98% rejection. Like that is the job, is to go out there and to try to get rejected. And the jobs that you do get are hopefully going to pay those bills, because that's what it is. You have to expect to be rejected when you have to almost expect not to win and appreciate the notoriety. I'm thinking about American Idol as well, which is a little bit more relevant to your and my time, that we can relate to. A lot of people in the top 10 go on to have very successful careers in music, some even bigger than others, some with more forward-facing positions than others. But it's going to get you into that spotlight. It's going to get you the connections, the experience, and the eyes are finally
it's
on
going
you.
to get you noticed.
Another way, actually, besides Star Search, that she got eyes on her was by performing with her Aunt Gladys. Now, Gladys and her uncle, Barry Hankerson, they were married for a short time, some years, and they do have a child who is Aaliyah's cousin. So Gladys is close with the family, remained close. So we're going to use the term aunt throughout the episode. But she learned a lot, all that to say, through this performance in Vegas, because Gladys was giving her the feedback. She gave her that chance. I mean, I feel like the documentary episode probably downplayed what a huge performance that would have been to join, especially at whatever age she would have been at the time. But Gladys was there to, again, nurture what Aaliyah had go on and kind of test it to a certain extent and gave plenty of good feedback. Nothing was like mean, but it was just more of like, okay, like we can't do that. Like we need to do like this. Like if this is what you want in your life, like then this is how we're going to do it and this is how you want to perform. Not to bring Taylor Swift into this again, but she really took those pearls of wisdom and tied them around her neck and carried them with her. I really feel like Gladys was so much more influential than even the episode was able to express, but this is just gut feelings.
In fact, there are a few interviews where Aaliyah, as an adult, reminisces about that particular performance and just her interactions with her Aunt Gladys. And she explains that Gladys taught her to connect emotionally to music and how to work a stage and engage with an audience. All those things are skills that a storied performer learns over time. And she was so fortunate to have someone like Gladys in her life to shepherd her through this early part of her career. And thankfully, Gladys wasn't the only person in her life and her family that was able to shepherd her through the next few steps of her career. We have her uncle, Barry Hankerson, who was married to Gladys. He eventually started his own label company, Blackground Records, and signed Aaliyah at the age of 12 as his first artist, but not his only artist, because we eventually learned that he also signed the now infamous R. Kelly.
Call me basic, but I'm an autumn girl through and through. And as this summer winds down, it's got me thinking about all these little things that make the home feel a little more comfortable and welcoming and cozy. That's exactly what Quince does so well. They make it so easy to upgrade the spaces that you use every day with quality home essentials made from premium materials without paying any of those luxury prices. Quince has those pieces that quietly elevate your home, from plush Turkish cotton bath towels and breathable cotton and linen bedding. Everything from Quince is made with premium materials and thoughtful craftsmanship. That's because Quince works directly with ethical factories and cuts out the middleman. That way they can offer exceptional quality at prices that are 50 to 80% less than similar luxury brands. I've been sleeping on European linen sheets from Quince's home goods line for a year now, and let me tell you, they are cozy, they are breathable. I have no notes. They also just sent me their cotton fisherman's throw in the color fig. It is so pretty and also very cozy, most importantly. Elevate your everyday at home. Download the Quince app for app-exclusive offers or go to quince.com/diaries. Get free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada and the UK too. That's QUINCE.com/diaries.
Get your tickets now for the Dog Stars.
It's no surprise how fast civilization can disappear. Out there, it's kill or be killed.
Jacob Elordi,
There are people out there. They need our help.
Josh Brolin,
Shoot first and inquire afterwards.
Margaret Qualley,
Okay, tough guy.
and Guy Pearce.
Arm up!
The Dog Stars, directed by Ridley Scott, in theaters August 28th. Get tickets now. Rated R. Under 17, not admitted without parents.
Hi, Ryan Reynolds here for Mint Mobile. Are you looking for a beach read this summer? May I suggest your big wireless bill? It's got suspense, mystery, a slightly flat emotional arc, and a shocking twist where you realize you've been overpaying the entire time. Fortunately, though, Mint's story is better. Every plan, $15 a month, even unlimited. That's it. Happy ending. Zero tears. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required. $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. See terms.
Starting a business can seem like a daunting task, unless you have a partner like Shopify. They have the tools you need to start and grow your business. From designing a website to marketing to selling and beyond, Shopify can help with everything you need. There's a reason millions of companies like Mattel, Heinz, and Allbirds continue to trust and use them. With Shopify on your side, turn your big business idea into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
My life is booked and busy. I don't have time to try on a million outfits that still don't feel right. That's why I get styled with Stitch Fix. My personal stylist sends outfits picked for my size, style, and budget so I can get dressed and get on with my day feeling confident. It's no risk, all style. Free shipping, free returns, no subscription required. Get started today at StitchFix.com. That's StitchFix.com.
This is the kind of nurturing that got her into a school like the Detroit High School for Fine Performing Arts, where, by the way, she held a 4.0, which I just couldn't record this without saying that our girl held like a 4.0 when she graduated. Amazing. But yeah, she gets introduced to R. Kelly, and to me, it's kind of a dichotomy of what we know about her up until this point, right? 4.0, getting into a performing arts school, working really hard and being willing to put herself out there, like performing with Gladys, etc., to meeting this really older guy who...
He's 27 at the time.
He's around 27 at the time. She's about 15. And what we know about R. Kelly today versus what we knew back then, the world was already shook when they found out that these two got married in 1994, which again, she was 15 and he would have been 27. Her parents caught on. They did not like it, but that wasn't before journalists were requesting from Cook County Registrar's Office the official marriage documents because it was rumored, denied. And then they found the official documents that do prove that these two were married. I should note, though, also, it was a very short-lived marriage. It was annulled by 1995 or 6. But of course, that doesn't take away the grooming that had been going on. And underneath families' noses, I mean, she was with a label owned by her own uncle. It's just wild to think that a 27-year-old would even be interested in hanging out with a 15-year-old, nonetheless marry them. And he's all over that record, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number. R. Kelly is all over it.
Him grooming Aaliyah really did take place over a stretch of time. They spent a lot of time together writing and producing the album together. You can feel, like you said, his influence everywhere because he was so involved. They would spend hours and hours a day with each other, eating, going out to the movies, working closely. She even told Vibe magazine in 1994 that they would do all those things. She described their relationship as rather close at the time. And when she was asked in December of 1994 if they were married, she told the Chicago Sun-Times that she urged them not to believe all that mess, that they were just close and that people took it the wrong way. So I think that response is a 14-year-old trying to protect an adult that knew better in that situation.
It's definitely a teenager who has been groomed to protect. I mean, to bring it back to the record again for a moment, that entire record is likely grooming, writing together, producing that. It was probably grooming. It's just such a deviation, which yes, this can happen in your teenage years, to what we see in other parts of her life. But again, it was short-lived, and she went on to have a very successful sophomore record, which I think went like 8 times platinum. I don't have the exact numbers. So she was building her own success. And I think that other side of her, again, not to blame a teenager that was groomed at all, but this other side of her life where all the success was living, I think really got her through to that. I almost wonder and question today how she would talk about it as a 47-year-old woman. I also wonder how she would have talked about it if she ever got the space to talk about it after it was annulled, or even in 2001 when she passed, versus how she would have spoken about it at 15, 16 years old.
R. Kelly doesn't reference or mention their relationship at all in today's time. He's quoted as saying, out of respect for her and her mom and her dad, I will not discuss Aaliyah. That was a whole other situation, a whole other time. It was a whole other thing. And I'm sure that people also know that. No, we don't also know that. It was still wrong in the 90s.
We definitely knew that in the 90s because the media was freaking out about it, because that would have been weird. It would have been off. And even Aaliyah's own parents did not approve of that once they found out. It was a very big secret.
Her mom, Diane, even has said that everything that went wrong in Aaliyah's life started with her relationship with R. Kelly. So they have some understanding that this was completely inappropriate. And I think they moved pretty swiftly as parents after getting information that this marriage had taken place, which I don't know if we said. The marriage certificate listed Aaliyah's age as 18, by the way. So even though she was 15, it said she was 18 because they were
She had a fake
trying
ID.
to. Mm-hmm.
It's interesting to me, given, we cover a lot of true crime cases and we cover a lot of very colorful life stories. It's interesting to me that this grooming went as far as marriage, because so often this grooming is mostly sexually related, and it ended in a marriage and in a county that she didn't live within. Cooks County is Chicago, Illinois, not Detroit.
The marriage part of it was a little bit confusing, but I could see him using that as a form of manipulation. And we do know that he was sentenced to 30 years in 2022 after being found guilty of 9 counts, including racketeering, sexual exploitation of a child, kidnapping, bribery, sex trafficking, and violation of the Mann Act. So this is not a good guy. We know that he will go to great lengths to get what he wants, and he wanted Aaliyah. So maybe that is a way that he was able to manipulate her into doing what he wanted.
Yeah, and maybe he felt like he sort of owned her in a certain way because he understood legally what a big tie that was. But luckily, it was annulled.
That's so creepy to think about, actually. That's a really good point, that sense of ownership over her.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I'm sure he had everything to do with her getting a fake ID.
Yeah.
I'm sure. By the way, before the marriage was annulled in February of 95, Aaliyah, was more villainized in this scenario than R. Kelly ever was. And I'm finding this interesting now retrospectively because you just explained how many counts and how many horrific things R. Kelly has done and is paying the price for in prison. It's so sad and annoying that she was villainized more than he was during this entire thing, instead of like, hey, why is this 27-year-old marrying a 15-year-old?
Of course she was villainized because people looked at her as the problem. Oh, she seduced an older man. We've even seen that happen to Demi Lovato. Demi Lovato and her relationship with, I can't think of his name right now.
Wilder Valderrama.
Thank you. Yes, with Wilder Valderrama. People would blame her for the relationship when he had a history of dating 16, 17-year-olds. He dated Lindsay Lohan, Mandy Moore, Demi Lovato. He would keep getting older, like her song says, but his girlfriends would stay the same age. And
to quote Taylor Swift, all too well 10-minute version, but Demi also has a song 29.
Yeah.
And it talks about that. So I think 29 is a really great perspective on what it's like on the other side of this and how you don't realize it until you're older. And Demi's perspective in the song is, I'm the age you were now. And ew, dude.
It would never cross my mind, as she says.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yes. So, right. Your lovers stay the same age and you're a creep.
Unfortunately, the women get blamed.
And in this case, it hurt Aaliyah's opportunities to work with producers and writers. Like, none of them wanted to touch her art at this point. But luckily, that does change, and she starts working with the likes of Missy Elliott, Timbaland. So she, again, still has a successful sophomore album and into another successful third album that I would say I know music from both the second and the third more than I do the first, but this is where that music comes from. That we, especially as millennials, remember. This is where Tell Me You're That Somebody, Rock the Boat. There were several others that I recognize because, I had to dive into the albums.
And this third album is simply titled Aaliyah. And it really was her way of reintroducing herself to her fan base, to the public, and also taking her name back, removing it from the grips R. Kelly had on it from her first album and whatever happened with her second album. This was her time to show the world, this is me. This is who I am as an artist, and nothing's going to stop me.
I love that so much. And I never really thought about it like that she named this album her name. I love that. I think that's so powerful, given that this is her last album as well. It serves this purpose in that way. Rock the Boat the song I already mentioned, is on that album. It's a song that many know very well. This is the song that she was filming the music video for at the time of her untimely passing. Now, there were some issues. They were going to be filming in Miami, but there were some issues with, who knows, contracts. We've heard more intense things than just that before in other cases that we've actually talked about. Like, who else was there an issue filming with? Was it Anna Nicole Smith? There was so similar ideas happening here in Miami. I don't know what's going on with Miami.
But it basically comes down to they needed a beach to shoot the music video on. It didn't work out where they were, so they went to the Bahamas, which happens to have exceptionally beautiful beaches. And so they saw it as a win. We're going to go in, film this music video and leave, because she had to get to another gig she had.
Her boyfriend at the time, Dame Dash, kind of recalls that, she was just looking to get in there, work hard, get it done, and get back on a plane. However, the plane that was set up for her after filming was not the same plane that brought her to the Bahamas. And she did not like this plane at all. Now, this actually was a double engine plane, which that I would always be freaked out on a plane that isn't a double engine. But she didn't like the looks of it. And she told him, I don't like it. And he said, then, don't get on it, But she did, despite sitting in the cab, despite letting it be known, like, hey, I'm not comfortable with the situation. Whatever happened, she got talked into it and she gets on that plane.
There was a lot surrounding this particular plane. Like you said, she didn't want to get on it, but there was the fact that it was almost 2 hours late. It was supposed to arrive at 4:30 p.m. and didn't arrive till 6:15. The pilot was, what we later learn, under the influence of not only alcohol, but cocaine. The aircraft was overfilled. It reached its max capacity. I believe it was 900 pounds over what it should have been carrying.
941.
They were only on the plane for a short amount of time before it caught fire and crashed.
Another horrible thing that this pilot did was fibbed in his logbooks. He basically made it appear he was trained with this type of Cessna. It's a Cessna 402B, and he wasn't. I actually found a really great resource about that online that went over like everything, like in a lot more detail than we're able to share here. But that was another piece. So he allowed it to be overweight. He was under the influence and he wasn't trained. I mean, that is a recipe for disaster. And that's exactly what happened. So if it wasn't for him, Aaliyah and the other 8 individuals who died that day very well likely would be here. And I think that that's something so frustrating in Aaliyah's life story as well.
Yeah, the fact that it was so preventable. Like you said, Aaliyah and 8 other people passed away. I'm just going to say their names because I feel like they deserve to be mentioned. So Aaliyah, we had the pilot, Luis Morales III, Eric Foreman, Anthony Dodd, her security guard, Scott Gallen, a family friend, Keith Wallace, makeup stylist Christopher Maldonado, and background records employees Douglas Kratz and Gina Smith. All of those individuals were killed upon impact.
If that wasn't enough, her music became basically unavailable outside of physical media. You couldn't even stream much of anything until 2021, and it kind of got tied up in some family feuds. I mean, even in the episode, one of her friends was like, I don't know who said what or what was going on, but it basically tied it all up when it came to streaming. I mean, luckily it is available now. So like, please stream, and check her music back out because it really does stand the test of time. Something that Natalie and I heard while researching was Aaliyah mentioned that she wanted to mix this old school R&B with this new school 90s hip hop that was happening at the time that she was coming up. And I think she really did that. She has a unique sound. I think it's why people were latching onto it because, again, it's so unique while fitting in and being so digestible to like listen to, if that makes sense. I don't have a lot of better words, but it is so cool that her legacy, at least now, can live within streaming.
That's beautifully put. It is a really great call to action to have people listen to her music, but especially the last album because this was her way of taking her narrative back, right? And this is the voice she has left for us. So why don't we listen to it? Why don't we get to know who Aaliyah was before she passed? Without R. Kelly's influence, without anyone else's influence in it. It was just her working and creating the music that she wanted to create. And I love that she was at least able to almost entirely finish that album before her death.
I think that's a very classic story of a third album. So often they finally get a little bit more independence. And not only was she wanting to breed that independence and take her name back with this album, it was just the timing in her music career as well. So I agree with you. That is the album for sure to enjoy. This will be available in video as you're listening. It already will likely be on our YouTube channel at the Murder Diaries Podcast. Make sure that you follow us on our socials at the Murder Diaries Pod as well.
And don't forget our schedule. Mondays, Tragic Hollywood. Tuesdays, Docu-Files. And Thursdays, a true crime case that needs your attention. Thanks for being here.
Bye. Call me basic, but I'm an autumn girl through and through. And as this summer winds down, it's got me thinking about all these little things that make the home feel a little more comfortable and welcoming and cozy. That's exactly what Quince does so well. They make it so easy to upgrade the spaces that you use every day with quality home essentials made from premium materials without paying any of those luxury prices. Quince has those pieces that quietly elevate your home, from plush Turkish cotton bath towels and breathable cotton and linen bedding. Everything from Quince is made with premium materials and thoughtful craftsmanship. That's because Quince works directly with ethical factories and cuts out the middleman. That way they can offer exceptional quality at prices that are 50 to 80% less than similar luxury brands. I've been sleeping on European linen sheets from Quince's home goods line for a year now, and let me tell you, they are cozy, they are breathable. I have no notes. They also just sent me their cotton fisherman's throw in the color fig. It is so pretty and also very cozy, most importantly. Elevate your everyday at home. Download the Quince app for app-exclusive offers or go to quince.com/diaries. Get free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada and the UK too. That's QUINCE.com/diaries.
Hi, Ryan Reynolds here for Mint Mobile. Are you looking for a beach read this summer? May I suggest your big wireless bill? It's got suspense, mystery, a slightly flat emotional arc, and a shocking twist where you realize you've been overpaying the entire time. Fortunately, though, Mint's story is better. Every plan, $15 a month, even unlimited. That's it. Happy ending, zero tears.
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required. $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. See terms.
Are thoughts about food, exercise, and your body taking up too much space in your brain? You aren't alone, and you don't have to live this way. Equip provides 100% virtual, evidence-based treatment for all diagnoses and all bodies. With Equip, you'll get a dedicated care team, including a therapist, medical provider, dietitian, and a recovery coach who has actually been in your shoes. Lasting recovery is possible. Visit equip.health to book a free consultation today.
My life is booked and busy. I don't have time to try on a million outfits that still don't feel right. That's why I get styled with Stitch Fix. My personal stylist sends outfits picked for my size, style, and budget so I can get dressed and get on with my day feeling confident. It's no risk, all style. Free shipping, free returns, no subscription required. Get started today at StitchFix.com. That's StitchFix.com.
We want to tell you about the hottest new podcast on the block, Coffee and Cases. Join me, Allison.
And me, Maggie.
As we take on cases that are often overlooked, but are screaming for justice. Coffee and Cases is a true crime guilty pleasure that you don't actually have to feel guilty about. Check out Coffee and Cases every week for a new episode on your favorite podcasting app.